All right, welcome back to week 8, the final week of the Custard Project. Um, it should just be finalizing, finishing things up, doing the mock-ups. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over the font thing. That's quick. I'm going to go over the spelling thing. That's quick. I'm going to go over one more tip. I'll see where the time is. I don't think it's going to take that long. And then maybe I think I'll do the quick tent. And then Thursday, maybe we don't have to meet on Thursday then, because you're just finishing things up and there's nothing new to add. So I'll do that. Let's try to do that today. And then also, this is speaking a week from now. Next week, Tuesday, there's quote unquote no MATC classes. I say quote unquote because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-record our lesson, which is an introduction to the new assignment, for you to watch on Tuesday. We'll meet on Thursday. Why am I doing this for this 16-week course? Is because then the week of Thanksgiving, you get the whole week off of my classes. Like, don't even have to think about it. Like that full week, I don't assign anything. I don't do anything. So you have an entire like down week off of my stuff. They do this weird janky thing where they have to move these days around. So I don't like it. I like to do the Tuesday, Thursday, like kind of keeps us in a schedule. So instead of disrupting that schedule, I'm going to pre-record a class. You can watch it. Then we meet again on Thursday, and it would be like nothing happened. But like I said, when Thanksgiving week comes up, it's just we won't even talk. That week, you're escaped from me. No reason to deal with me there. So I will mention that. I will send you notifications and everything about that. So nobody's like, well, I logged on, you weren't there. So I'll make sure it's very clear. Yeah. So let's get going. All right. Fonts. I don't run into this too much with y'all anymore. It does come up, but it's the use of too many fonts in a piece. You got to watch it. 3 is like the top. Like 3 is the top amount of fonts you should use in anything. And if you do 3, you have to have really good justification of why you need to use that many fonts. Usually if you have like one really good font, like if you get a nice bootleg, Arial will work too. Arial is like Helvetica's cousin. They're kind of the same. But if I mention that, you can get Helvetica or Arial in like 800 flavors, that everything you need to do can be done in one font, and you can do light and italic, and you can use that to differentiate things rather than being like, well, I want my header in this font, and then I'm going to type in this one. Oh, but I want something else important up here, so it'll be bold because this doesn't come in bold. And so you end up it becomes a mess hierarchically, in the hierarchy of things. And so 3 is the max. Like just stop. Like if you realize you're like, oh, and then I want to change the font here, be like, okay, can I change the font family rather than the font? Is there other, things I can do in this to help with that? Let me open this really quick. And you should all know that you've taken type. You've all taken type window. Type. Character. So like Minion Pro, like here, it comes in italic and medium. So I got 3 versions of this I can use. And I don't need to go beyond that. That's great. It's got the 3 versions. You can, whenever that little arrow shows the other versions. And you can check like, oh, I'm doing some sort of like documenting where I need to do a lot of like charting. If I'd make a chart, sometimes this comes in really handy for signifying things in a chart where you'd use this many versions of the same font. Normally, you don't have to. You'd be like, here's a header. Here's my regular stuff. I don't know. You go light just because you wanted to like make it look fancy. But again, why? So you always, that's the big question. And because it looks cool is not the answer why, but you should justify when choosing fonts for a piece. Why am I choosing this particular font? Why am I? And then if you go to another font, ask yourself, why do I feel like I need to like do another font? And those are always the questions. You always just, you're questioning yourself, because the big one to think about is, you know, KISS, KISS, keep it simple, student. The less you add to a design, the better. If you, and I call them design elements sometimes, and when you all submit stuff and I say, you know, why did, you know, did you need to do this particular thing? Like, because if you do a design element only in one place, is it needed? And I feel like that sometimes happens with the fonts, is you're like, oh, I'm going to do this one thing in this different font. Well, why introduce something new? Don't introduce something new unless you're going to use it, you know, the perfect design regulation of like 3 times, like boom, boom, boom. It's just a design thing. It's not a rule, but watch how many fonts you use. I haven't seen it much. I feel like maybe in the typography class, they're getting more into this of not using so many fonts. So it is showing, but I'll call it out when I see it. It's just not needed, but a lot of the work you're doing doesn't need it either. So it's all good. So there you go. Here's one that I see coming up. Spell check. So back in the day, I used to type out all my stuff in like Google Docs, or pre that Microsoft Word, so it would spell check for me, until I realized there was a spell check in the programs, and there's even something greater now. So spell check is just Control-I or Command-I. It's that easy. You have to, it's a little bit goofy in InDesign when doing it. I forget how to do like one text box, or if you have like a ton of pages, you can have it only spell check one area or the entire document. There's even a spell check in Photoshop. Start to use it. I'm starting to see more and more, because I have a secret to show you, and that will help you from here on out in your life. And I literally just found this out 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was doing something and I thought, was I maybe trying to, I couldn't remember the command. Like I do it, but I was at home and I couldn't remember what you call it on a Mac. You know, on a PC, they don't have a command key, Windows key, whatever. And I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, what is this new thing? So let me show you the new thing. Please, the second you all get home, or you are home, open up both InDesign and Illustrator, and I think it sets it. So here is my copy. I'm in Illustrator right now. Looking great, right? Looks great. Edit. Where is it now? Spelling. Check spelling. Well, there's the one. I can do that. Oh, I have an error. Everything is spelled wrong. Okay, I'm just gonna hit ignore and done. Or you can now turn this on. Edit, spelling, auto spell check. Now it redlines it. And you know it's spelled wrong. And I think you can you right click on it? Oh, it just tells you it's wrong, but it won't fix it. But it'll do that for you. So now you know, like, oh, that's spelled wrong. So then you can use both, and then you can go, I don't know how to spell everything, and you can hit start and then click on it, change, done, everything is now spelled correctly and nothing pops up in red. So that's under edit, spelling, and just turn on auto spell check and it'll start to red underline all your stuff. That's an Illustrator. Same thing in InDesign. InDesign is edit, spelling, and again, autocorrect. Let's see if it checks it. Oh. Does it have to do it per box? Oh, dynamic spelling. So autocorrect. So this one in InDesign will do it for you. That's why, because I was doing it in InDesign. So InDesign will autocorrect. It'll fix, tell you when a word is wrong, underline it red, just like everything else. So make sure you use those, especially if you type in. So autocorrect and dynamic spelling, you can just turn those on and they should stay on within the InDesign program itself. I think I turned mine on and I haven't had to turn it off since. And then go to the word. Right click on it. I highlighted the entire word, right click on it, and then change it. So there you go. Because spelling, even if the document is supplied by the client and they have spelling errors and it's not found by you or them, it actually still falls on you. Like you can be like, well, I just copied and pasted your stuff. The client can then say to you, well, we expected that when you typeset it into your document, you are double checking some of this information for us. So don't ever rely on like, oh, the client gave it to me, it's all spelled correctly. You turn on your spell checks. You always spell check everything, because there's times too when you're like, if you're doing some fine tuning and you like do something, you're like, oh, I need to get that around, and then you hit a return and you took the F off by mistake and you don't have anything to signify, and it's Rosen because you were messing with a copy and you just hit a delete. You need to know. You need to always double check your spelling. There are ways to double check your spelling in all of the finest programs offered to you by InDesign and Illustrator by Adobe. All right, one other thing I wanted to show you. So make sure you turn those on. Like when we get off this, when you're done watching it, turn those on and just know you set it and you forget it, and you always see your spelling errors. One other thing I noticed, and this may have been in the other class though, the other class, and I mean art history, but it's just good to know. I have this like little design here, right? And I'm using what is called, I'm using the artboard for white, okay? So in layers, I just have the dots. If I select all, it is, just the dots, everything else. And I do this all the time. It's totally, I've been doing this for years, like years and years and years. So what I'm gonna do is save as my, as a PDF, because PDFs drop in really nicely. I use them all the time to drop in. Like instead of a JPEG or something else, you can drop in PDFs. I want to save this to my desktop. But when you do that, so this is it. And this is how I have it, set up so it automatically pops up and I can double check it. Oh, it looks good. It looks good. But now if I were to put this into an InDesign document, file, place, I'm just gonna put it right there. Oh, I hate when I do that. Why is it doing that? There we go. This is what happens. I have a dark background and I want to put my thing on the dark background. I can't see anything. The image is there. The problem is because I use Artboard for white, which is totally fine, which is totally fine. It leaves it as, when it exports the PDF, it says, oh, there's nothing there. Don't put any information in there. All you need to do to fix that is you can just fill that with white. So you can go to fill and paper. And then as soon as you do that, you can put your document back on to a special background. This is useful for all you who design posters and flyers that don't have a full bleed or full color background, and you put it into your document to share with me, the client, and then you won't have like, a missing background per se. So if I switch this to blue, let's just do that real quick. And then I take that fill off of there, like, don't just leave your stuff like that. Like, oh, but I dropped it in, this is fine. No, that is absolutely not fine. Make sure you just go to fill and hit the paper fill, and then it's just gonna fill that in. So I hope that makes sense, but I've seen that happen once or twice in the past day or two. So make sure you do that. Let's keep on trucking. I'll tell you the last one, and this one's easy. Let me open up Photoshop. It should be open. I may have to download a file, but all right. Let me go to the classroom. I'm just going to download the 10 file. Download. File, open. All right, so you have this file for setup. And as we talked in the past, like, do not design in a fake 3D environment. It never works out. It doesn't look good. You can't judge anything. And it is like, you design flat and then you switch it over to the 3D thing. It's like far easier to do that. I want 142. I want this. And you can really be quite easy on it. I'll do this. Break it apart. And I would literally, I think I would do this. I don't think I would change much in this background. I just want to get rid of the red. Because some of this I will do, I do, and then you just undo. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to delete that. I don't need it for what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do a screenshot. And I'm just going to I'm going to take this. Now, if you're on a Mac, it's Shift Command 4. If you're on a PC, I forget what it is, but you know what I did on my PC? I programmed one of my function keys, and so all I have to do is tap F1, and it sets up it's called like snipping path, because I constantly am doing this. And then I'm going to do this. And what I want is I do want that outline on it still. Oh, hold on, I'm not on. Yeah, it's like Windows Shift S. You are 100% right. But like I said, if it took me like 4 seconds, I have a different keyboard, but to program it so, because I would sit there and hitting the 3 keys all the time when I'm helping you guys. I was like, nuts to that. I'm gonna make it so it's one button push. Those are the things, like whenever you think there's something you do a lot, there's a faster way to do it. Figure it out and just start doing it. All right, so then here, I just got screenshots. So I can just be like, place in bed. And I'm gonna go to desktop. And so what I'm gonna do is just distort things to my image rather than the other way around. So I have that. Oh, I need 2 of them. I'm just gonna copy paste that, turn one off. go up to here, go to here, edit, transform. I always do distort. It's always just like my go-to one. And because this is from the company, it should fit. And then you do that. I'm not trying to bend around like the whole thing. You do it in little pieces. Edit, transform, distort. And then file, place embed. Nope. File, place embedded. Get that other image. Place. All right. So now what I can look at on this one. Oh, did I snip it? Oh, I didn't go high enough. Oh, well. All right, now I can use that. I can go to edit, again, transform, distort. I'm not going to leave it flat either, but I'm really going to watch those. The bottom I can use. I snip that good. And then the top, I can see the lines. And if I needed to, you just drop your opacity to help. And zoom in. I got that one going good. I want to bring in this one so I can try to do this. But as you can see, you got to work both of these at the same time. And it might not work, but don't you fret. Don't you fret. Because moving it down doesn't work. Moving it up doesn't work. So at this point, I haven't committed to anything, and I'm looking at this dashed line right there. I'll just go to edit, transform, and warp. And I should be able to then pull this in. Oh, it pushed everything away. And then part of it is, looking at it, be like, oh, watching that. It looks pretty good. All right, then I hit OK. And then I just trim off what I don't need. I guess the big one from here is like, always use more than one way to adjust your item. It's like, it's not always just one and done. And then we'll do here. You can also go in and hand adjust this more. I might do that. Why didn't that delete? And that's, somewhat the basis of how I want you to do that. Don't just kind of like slap it in. Do it in pieces. It will always look better than trying to like put in like the valance plus the top. Like you'd be struggling at doing that. Just put in flat pieces, be done. That's the easy part. Do the hard part separately as those triangles. You can even try to cut it out first. I don't know, we could do this one. Edit. Let's try that. Rasterize layer. delete. I feel like although if doing this way, you don't get the wiggle room of the extra part, which then you'd have to fill in so you don't see blue hanging out. That makes sense to everybody. All right, yeah, so then I got this. Edit, transform, distort. Gotta line that up, easy. Line that up, easy. Bring this over. Bring that over. Let's see, edit, transform, warp. And then I can move these where I need to. You can add points too. I should probably add some points. It's swooping a lot. Not too bad. I mean, that works. So that's what I wanted to show you too. So when dealing with the tent, there's that. I think we're good. I think we're good for the week. I'll check in with everybody. If you are part of the art history group, yeah, maybe they'll give you some extra time because that class ends on Sunday at midnight. Is there any other questions, comments, or concerns about finishing up this project or any of the other projects? All right, cool. Make sure you turn on that spell check. So, because now when I open your documents, I can see how many words are spelled wrong. So make sure you turn that on for yourself. Double check all that. You know how to get a hold of me for questions, comments, and concerns. And I'll check in on Thursday, but I'll just see if anybody logs on, if they need help, I'm here. Otherwise, Thursday is kind of a free day for you. And then I will send you guys notices about the lecture for Tuesday when I record it, when I put it up. Then you can just know like Tuesday is all good. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye.